going down. Tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 56. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And we are fresh from the racetrack.
Yep. Just pulled in not too long ago, huh?
Well, we didn't race today. We raced yesterday.
Yes.
But MWXC is the entire weekend, and so I had to go back and do quads today. But today was a lot nicer than yesterday.
Yesterday was... It was like
that was
the Earth
bad.
was fighting us.
Yeah, it was bad. We had, sustained 30 mile an hour, gusting to 50, 55?
Yeah, I think I saw 60. We had wind advisories for the area and everything else. It was nasty.
I couldn't keep PA equipment vertical. It kept blowing over.
We're not talking about like canopies around the PA stuff. Speakers and tower, like stands, being slammed to the ground repeatedly.
Yeah, it was an interesting day. I'm glad it's over.
That was rough, yeah.
And we'll get into the race in a little bit, but it did cause some interesting things during the race. Every lap was different because things kept blowing over. So we'd come over one lap, and the track would be...
he means trees.
Yeah, I mean, we'd come around one lap, and there'd be an open section of the track, just, normal, what we expected to find there. We'd come around the next lap, and there would be a tree across it, or brush, or, multiple trees, or something. Every lap was different.
It was literally like racing in a tornado, except there was no rain and no circling wind. It was all just straight line, hard wind.
Yeah, that was different. But we'll get into all that in just a minute.
Yeah,
we're supposed to do witty banter here, right?
Do I do witty? I'll banter.
I don't even know if it's really banter. We're just filler. We've got a show to do. Let's make it an hour.
No, I don't want to just fill an hour of your lives.
No. But we're going to anyways.
Pretty much.
Honestly, I'm just out of it. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. But I'm actually excited to do this podcast because it's going to be busy for the next few weeks, and I want to keep on schedule and get things cranked out. And you've been doing some nice video work.
I've been attempting.
I appreciate you picking up some slack. Cause
I know you've been busy.
I've been just flat out not here.
Yeah. I know you've been busy, and you're getting ready to take off later this week.
Yeah, Thursday morning I head down south to the Southern Mud Riderz event for St. Jude Research Hospital, and I'm super pumped. In a way, I don't feel prepared at all. There's really not much I can do to prepare other than making sure the memory cards are empty and the batteries are charged and everything's ready to go.
You got your underwear packed and your toothbrush.
Yeah, but it's been like 10 months of build up to this.
Yeah.
And now it's finally here.
Yep. I completely know the feeling. I feel the exact same way for GNCC. I have the pink buggy here. I went and got that Friday. If you guys check out one of the new video things Doug is talking about that I did, we're trying it out. I'm not saying we're going to do it all the time, but we did a vlog style video where, kind of a day in the life of when we're running around trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
On like my day off wasn't a day off. I was working all day. So went and got the pink buggy. You guys saw that in the vlog if you watched it, but got it back here. Didn't do anything with it that night, today or yesterday, because I was out at the MWXC race. And then today I climbed in it and maybe drove around for 15 minutes, something like that. Got a feeling for it, really what I was wanting to do. And Cody said he went over it, and it's not that I didn't trust him or anything like that. I just wanted to get in it, get the feel for it. Is it making any funny noises? Or is, kind of, I guess, get a baseline for it. Because every machine makes creaks and groans and thumps and clunks and everything else.
But are they normal creaks and groans and thumps and everything else?
Right. So Cody went over it, and I know that he did, and his guys did. So this machine should right now, and I, shook the wheels and everything feels tight and all that. So this is my baseline is, this is the creaks and groans this machine should make. If it makes noises other than these during the race, we have newfound problems.
I was just laughing because as we're rapidly approaching our 40, our fourth decade on this planet, our 40s, we have to get used to all sorts of new creaks and groans and
Nah.
things that never made that noise before.
Come on, body, let's go. You're coming along.
That's the whole plan, is to skid into the grave like sideways, completely used up.
Yeah.
I don't want to go well preserved.
No, I'm not going to be one of those types. So
Yeah, so and the stakes for you are a little higher too. I mean, if I forgot the camera here, it would really screw up this whole weekend I'm going to do or something like that, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
You, on the other hand, are racing.
I am racing.
So the stakes are a little higher.
I'm racing in let's recap for those of you who are behind and just jumping in on this one or your new listeners. I'm racing the last GNCC side-by-side race
ever,
or at least the foreseeable future, because they are canceling next year and beyond. They have no inkling that they will ever pick it back up.
What we need to do is find a very wealthy patron of the races and get them to do private insurance for the event.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
If we could coordinate that, we'd be famous.
Yes. So I'm racing that, but I can't race my own machine because it's a turbo.
And turbos are invitation only.
Yes.
You have not gotten the golden ticket.
I did not get the golden ticket. Completely understandable also. But, so, Cody with CW Motorsports, I told him about GNCC when we caught wind that it was going to be the last one. I said, you need to race this because he has a race machine that's a 1000 naturally aspirated, no turbo. He can sign up for it. He's like, yeah, we're going to do that. And I said, I'll go with you. I'll just do media coverage and stuff like that. And, you race it. Or if you want me to co-drive with you, I'll gladly do that. So that's been a few months ago. And then he said, I can't race. He contacted me a few weeks later, said, I can't race. They have, I think, a wedding to go to is what it is. And I was like, oh, okay. But
kind of lame, Cody.
Yeah. Bad. It's the last ever GNCC side-by-side race. And according to statistics, your friend, whoever, they'll get divorced at some point and probably remarried.
Yeah, they can get married later. You can
There'll
catch
be
the
a whole
second
nother
one.
married thing to do.
Or the third one, depending.
Yeah. Just kidding. Anyway, so Cody said, okay, you take my buggy, or you and Steve, you guys can take it, go race it. He goes, you guys can decide who's driving. And basically it was like, I'm driving, Steve, you're riding shotgun. And Steve was, okay, that's fine. So
nice.
We're going racing.
So that's what's happening. And you are prepared. I mean, you've got your racing license. You know the buggy's going to be solid. You're going to get a little bit of time to drive this week, not much. But I understand the feeling of...
I'm climbing into essentially an unknown machine.
Yeah.
In the class I'm racing is sportsman, but it's still in a series that is the premier drivers of UTVs in the world.
And you haven't raced much this season.
No.
It's not like you've done, 2 other series and have a bunch of wheel time.
No, I have not. I've been busy doing Eminent Performance stuff, and
it is a perishable skill. I mean, I'm not saying you're a terrible driver or things are going to be horrible, but, it is a perishable skill, and you just haven't done a lot.
Yeah. So, like I've said in previous podcasts, I'm not planning to go out there and set the world on fire. Or myself.
Interesting choice, driving a Razor.
I'm just looking to go out there and have some fun and compete and finish. That's kind of my goal.
No, it should be good.
Yeah. But, yeah, I feel unprepared. Completely unprepared. I got to mount the numbers on it, the number plates. And really, I think that's all I have to do. I am going to go over it again just for my own peace of mind.
I know you, though. Your brain's on fire.
Oh, I am there's got to be something I have to do.
Yeah, you're thinking you've forgotten something even though you haven't.
Oh, I know. That's how my brain is right now. I've been just, for the last 2 days since I got the machine, I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? Because I'm not going to say it's a fear. It's not a fear at all. But my biggest dread of what would happen is I get there and I've missed some small rule or some small step that I had to follow, and they're like, we're not letting you race. I would be miserable about that.
I think you're going to be fine because, honestly, Cody has pretty much built that buggy to GNCC spec.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I need to check his kill switch and just make sure it kills it. I'm sure it does, but I just want to go through and double check everything.
It's worth checking.
Yeah. Because if it's not, it's something I can remedy here. If I'm there, I'm going to bring tools with me like I always do to all the races I go run so that I can fix anything. And I know several other guys.
Oh, yeah,
are
Steve and Kevin are coming. No.
Ha-ha. I don't know if Kevin's coming. He just had the new baby, and he wasn't sure. Now, last time I asked him about it was before the baby was born.
Yeah, so. That's kind of a big life event. And by the way, Kevin, congratulations.
Joel is, I believe, the baby's name.
Yep. Your Eminent Performance family is very, very happy for you. That is awesome.
Congratulations.
New racer, future racer.
Little Joel already has a mohawk. Did you see his hair?
Yes.
He's got a ton of it, and it's a little mohawk, and it's hilarious.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
Now, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. So, I know Jason Bannon is going, and several of the guys that he runs with, they're going. Some of them are going to be there overnight, and they're going to save me a spot to pull in. So that's nice. Steve's just going to meet me at the track because it's equally as long for him to drive to my place and meet me here, then drive an hour up there as it is for him to just meet me at the track. It saves him an hour of sitting in the truck.
There you go.
Other than that, I mean,
it is what it is.
Line
man.
up and go.
Do the best prep you can do, and then just go race.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Good thing is, it's only an hour of running. I mean, it's not
good or bad if you're having fun, you know.
Right, but I mean, it's not an 8-hour thing. It's not a 4-hour endurance race. It's only an hour.
Speaking of endurance racing,
yep,
there is a new. I don't know if I really want to call this a new series or a rebranded series, and we'll tell you why here in a second.
Yep.
So there's a new one, or rebranded, or whatever you want to call it.
We'll call them new.
American Cross Country Championship, so AXCC.
Yep.
And there's not a whole lot of information. If you go on Facebook and punch in AXCC Racing, you'll find them at the top of the list. And they do have a video on there, and there's not a lot of information other than that. There's no about page that gives you a ton of info. You're kind of left to intuit what's going on from what you see there. But what we see is a bunch of Heartland Challenge footage.
Yes. We know because we were at this year's Heartland Challenge, and I saw several people's buggies that we traveled there with or we met up there with, and they were in the video. So
yeah, they had a lot of footage from the starts, and so we saw some people like Jason Hatcher. Clearly his buggy was there because it's every color under the sun. It's very hard to miss.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, you know, he's gone with his theme is lots of colors.
Yes.
And hey, whatever.
Crayola,
Yeah.
Sponsored by.
You can pick it out real easy, but you know, we saw his buggy in there, and we saw a few others that.
And there was the pretty unmistakable obstacle challenge course part of the track.
Yeah, where they got the cement chunks.
Yeah, it was very
pitched in a pile.
Very, very unmistakable what was going on there. So we're thinking that this is actually the series that effectively put on the Heartland Challenge event. They're just kind of rebranding, so we'll still call it a new series, but
they might be joining teams with some other series in other parts of the country.
Because if we watch the video, they're looking at quite a spread in terms of states. It's not just Iowa. I mean, it has tentacles down into Texas and up into the Minnesota region, and you know, there's a lot of
over into Indiana. I don't know if they went to Ohio or not.
Yeah, I don't think they went out that far.
Kentucky, I think they were down into Kentucky.
It definitely looks like they are, you know, looking to become it's not a national series. What they're touting is that it's a national quality of competition, but it's going to be kind of regional in nature.
Yeah.
But really what it kind of looks like is they're trying to pick up a bunch of slack from
They're
GNCC.
trying to pick up GNCC. That's what they're doing.
And what's interesting is they are doing basically four wheels. It is ATV and UTV only. They are not going for dirt bikes or anything else. It's basically they don't want dirt scooters. They want four-wheel machines.
Yep. Doug's showing the video on his laptop now.
Well,
and
we'll probably throw it in over us talking because you've seen enough of our ugly mugs.
I am seeing several buggies that I know the people.
Oh, yeah, because there's the DR Power Sports one that we had seen. In fact, that's the same one that I had some footage in from my video that, you know, or the video we produced.
Yeah.
So right now they're showing Texas and then Midwest, which includes...
Well, I see Ohio and over into West Virginia and
Tennessee,
Kentucky,
yeah. Illinois, up into Wisconsin, or not in Wisconsin.
Iowa.
Yeah, there's...
Missouri.
It's an interesting mix there.
And then they kind of skip Oklahoma and get down to Texas. And
Sorry, Oklahoma.
So, yeah.
One thing that I think they're going to push for based on the video, you see some bags o' cash, like the old cartoony know, bag with the dollar sign
on it.
But I'm guessing they're going to be gunning to do some decent payouts. Again, there's no real information here. You're just going to be looking at, you know, what you see in the video. Sunday ATV race or UTV racing. ATVs race on Saturday. So it's an interesting decision because I think a lot of other series are racing on Saturday evenings. And so maybe they're hoping to pick up guys that, you know what, you go race your series on Saturday evening, and if you haven't torn it up, come out and check us out on Sunday.
Well, and that's a good strategic plan, in my opinion, if this is how they're going to do it. Because we all know UTVs tear up a track.
Yes.
So you run the ATVs, which are generally pretty easy on a track. I mean, comparatively. And then the UTVs, it doesn't really matter what you do to it.
Yeah.
The ground has time to heal.
So I'm really curious to follow this and see what they've got going on. And, you know, we'll probably try and do some inquiry and phone calls and some stuff like that. We're not saying that Eminent Performance has a lot of clout, but sometimes when you have a name associated and it's not just you as a person, you can get a little further in.
Yeah. The payout things, there are other series that are doing bigger payouts now for UTVs. That's honestly what needs to be done to drive the sport.
Yeah, it's a two-edged sword because you get fewer numbers. Now you get more money for, you know, entering UTVs and racing them. It's more expensive to get in. But, you know, the other night I was talking with Devin as he finished first place there at MWXC. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But his payout there was $300, which is typically what MWXC pays. And it's not insignificant, but when you mark it up against a $50,000 vehicle, which is about what he's got in that thing,
it's really nothing.
It's really nothing. And then you get stepped down from there. Third place ends up with $75. I mean, that might have cost if you're running race fuel, that might have paid for your fuel.
That might have paid for your fuel to run the buggy, not to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we won't say who yet got third, but you guys all know.
We're just trying to get you to stay for the whole show this time.
That person drove from a good fair distance away.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't make any money. I mean, even when you win, you don't make money in a lot of race series. I know the Ultra 4 series had a UTV race, and it was more of an endurance style. The winner got paid out $15,000.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. I don't remember how many hours long it was. It might have been 12 or something like that. I mean, it was a long one.
And
the entry fee was steep. I'm wanting to say it was $1,000 or something to enter. I mean, it was steep.
Yeah, typically when you say the big payouts, that's what you end up with is it's a very long, or a very expensive pay to get in type of situation, or they have a lot of big corporate backing. But by the numbers, you still have a ton more quads and dirt bikes out there. And I think as that is continuing to shift towards UTVs, you're seeing more and more every year as they go on.
Yeah.
I think that helps, but I think we're a few years away from really seeing big payouts unless somebody's intentionally trying to drive it forward. But I don't know. It's tough.
It is. I mean, I see the good and the bad of it both. But like we've said, sport quads are going away. There's hardly any manufacturers doing it anymore. And, kids are growing up with UTVs. They're going to race something.
Yeah, it's going to continue to shift for sure. But, payouts are going to kind of lag behind. But, if you can get sponsorship from big corporate names to help push that, and if you can get people willing to stomach higher entry fees and that kind of stuff, you might be able to drive them. But there again, it's if you're going to win or you think you're super competitive, you're willing to do that. If you are a racer like Steve Mueller, again, not to slight him, it's just his racing style. He's super consistent. He shows up at every race, but he's not a perennial podium finisher.
Yep.
You're going to scare off a lot of drivers like that, you know what, I don't really want to pay $400 to race if I'm not going to really have a realistic shot of getting that money back.
Yeah.
Is basically now you're just paying the guys to race.
To race with them.
Yeah. So it's a two-edged sword. I don't know how you suss all that out. I think really the money driver has to be from corporate sponsorship and people standing in and getting behind UTV racing and really pushing it as a sport. It can't just be higher entry fees because you're going to scare off the guys who basically figure, I want to do this, I want to be competitive and have fun, but I know I'm not going to end up on the podium consistently.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's neat that another series or a rebranded series, and they're kind of opening up and spreading it out a little bit to get, more than just great. Iowa. But
I think more racing is always better. Like that's always the right answer to me. More racing.
I'm good with that. So we've hinted around enough about it. I think we should talk about the MWXC race.
So this was the final UTV race of the series. MWXC has one more race coming up in the weekend of November 3rd and 4th. However, there will be no UTV at that track. So this was it. This was for all the marbles. This is the one that you had to finish well on if you were in contention for points.
And the weather was going to make it go with a bang.
Yeah, so we alluded earlier to the hurricane without actual, wind
Spinny
or rain or anything like that. Yeah, no tornadoes, no actual hurricanes or anything like that, but it felt like it. And we were in the middle of a corn. Yeah. My face still is. Like, I can feel it.
My face was windburnt last night. It's feeling a little better today.
Well, in this property is primarily cornfield, and I actually got to talk to the owner today. They just got the corn out 5 days ago.
Yeah, it was fresh cut. You could see it.
And so there is a lot of chaff and blowing stuff around there that the wind was just throwing everywhere. And yeah, it turned it into an interesting track because it was different every single lap. But long story short, Steve Mueller, we talked about last time, was in contention for the top spot in class and also the top spot overall. And then, followed up by Colin Jean, and Barry Miller was in the mix there. And
Barry Miller was fourth, I think. Matt Hecker was second, then Colin Jean.
For overall, yeah. But Barry Miller was much higher in contention for class. And so basically how it all started to kind of shake out is the actual race finish was Devin Smith finished first.
Yep.
And then Barry Miller snuck up there into second.
Somehow. He says he doesn't know how he did it. He just showed up there and he was second.
And Steve Mueller kind of said the same thing because Steve finished third. He got a podium finish for the first time this season at MWXC.
Yeah.
And said the same thing. He's like, how did I screw up and end up here?
Yeah.
Woo! I think we got third. I think we did. Are you me? Holy freaking balls. Right, dude. Holy. Belt temps, average 215, high 244. I'll take it. Thank you, sir.
And so with that, Steve sews up 100% certain he is getting the overall.
Yes.
Now, we're still a little fuzzy on the math for how that's going to work out for class. And honestly, I haven't looked at it yet or done the math myself. It looks like Barry Miller may end up taking the class.
It looks like Barry Miller's going to get first. Steve will get second in class, and Colin Jean will end up third.
That's still a solid season, though. I mean, to be able to be first overall, second in class, and then second over there at Midwest Side-by-Side, that's not exactly a terrible season to bring back to your sponsor.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And we're not talking, when we say Steve's a factory-backed racer, he has a normal job.
They didn't give him that machine.
No, he had to buy it. They give him discounts on Polaris products and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's not being paid to race. It's not like what he does during the day is he goes and works out at the gym, then hops in a side-by-side and drives around for a couple hours and puts in some seat time. He goes to work at a normal job, and he drives it when he can and works on it himself. He doesn't have a pit crew to do any of that. So
yeah. So he's got some good backing there, and he has some connections where if something goes wrong, like he had some issues with shocks a couple times, and, they got it taken care of in a very fast, expedited fashion. He's had some issues. Well, before this race, he had an ignition problem, and he was only running on one cylinder the night before.
Yeah, he sent me a message at 5 p.m. on Friday, and he said he's at the dealership, and he said, my race series is done. He said, we can't get it to run. They had switched out coils. They had switched out sensors. They had reflashed the ECU back to stock, switched ECUs, I believe, all kinds of different stuff. Ends up, then they swapped coils the second time. It was okay. But I was chatting with Steve, and I was telling him, if you don't race, you're going to drop to like 6th place.
You've got to get out there and at least turn a lap in something because the points follow the driver, not the machine.
Right. So I told him, I said, okay, I got the pink buggy. I was just getting back from picking up. I said, I got the pink buggy and I got mine. The pink buggy's a naturally aspirated 1000, and that needs to go to GNCC. But if you want to take it and just turn a slow lap, do that. If you need to race something, take mine, race it. We'll sort out whatever happens after that. But you're not just not racing. You're going. You're going to run. So...
But at the 11th hour, everything came together, and, kudos to the dealership he's working with and everything else. He really got...
Action Power Sports is, I believe, who it is.
Yeah, Action Power Sports, and he called... what coils did he have in there? Because he didn't have stock ones.
Energy somethings.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name. It's something along those lines, and... He was on the phone with the president of the company at 9:30 at night, and they really all dove in and backed him.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things I appreciate about this sport is I see a lot of people still see it as emerging and growing, and so typically they're really willing to back and make sure you've got a good showing.
Yeah,
and those are the kind of sponsors you want behind you. Yeah, you're still paying money for parts, you're getting discounts and stuff. But when the chips were down and this was his season on the line, everybody jumped in behind him.
Yeah. He had everybody say, okay, let's do everything we can to get you out there. And they did it.
And so we're going to throw out a huge congratulations to Steve. Man, you've been a huge part of this podcast since the very beginning. You've been super supportive, and we're very glad that your season ended up the way it did. And, from both of us here at Eminent Performance, just awesome job out there. You worked your butt off, and you earned it this season.
Yep. And then we got Barry Miller, second. We talked about
Barry
him.
Miller, second place. Barry also, has put together a very solid season.
Doug's wearing the shirt.
Yeah, I'm kind of... Here, let me snake out from behind the laptop. Oh, you can't see it? There we
cup. There, it's...
I'm buried behind too much crap. This is why we're going to have a studio here soon.
Yep.
Because we're going to be in chairs that'll be higher and be kind of above all the stuff. Right now we're kind of tucked in behind here.
Yeah.
But Barry, man, you've put together a solid season yourself and have been just, again, super supportive of the series here and been contributed a lot towards the studio, and we can't thank you enough. And it was a real pleasure to see you up there in the podium to finish out your season.
Yep. Then we got Devin.
Devin, first place, man. If you're going to bang out a season, if you're going to go out at the end of a season, that's the way to do it.
I think that machine is just fast. Let's start there.
Oh my word, yeah. He's got that thing tuned and tweaked, and he knows how to drive it.
Yeah. But he's only made, I think he said, I don't think it counted this weekend's race, but he only has made 4 MWXC races.
Yeah, IXCR is his primary series.
Yeah.
And so he's made ones out here that he can make, and he ran Heartland Challenge, finished 3rd in his class there, and he's run some of the, or a lot of the Midwest side-by-side races, finished 1st overall there. But yeah, MWXC is just not his bread and butter series, but he always places well when he's there. He shows up and dominates.
Yeah. I think on the last lap, because Doug rode with Steve. We didn't mention that.
We didn't know. Yeah.
We'll get to that in 2 minutes.
Steve deserves all the praise. I was just bumping around in there.
So on the last lap, I was out in the field taking some pictures and shooting video and stuff. Devin had an easy 3 or 4 minute lead on the next car. Easy.
Yeah, he got bound up there early. He didn't have a particularly good start. As he described it, he was daydreaming. He goes, they're calling 10 seconds, and he's like, I'm sitting there like I'm watching the race. Like, yeah, let's get. Oh wait, I'm racing.
I got to do something here
because you have to start the X3s a little bit early. You almost kind of have to
jump the start.
Yeah, you almost have to anticipate the flag. Because they hesitate and they crank extra to get oil into the turbo, and just the way the ECU works, you don't get full power right out of the gate. Like they have to come on and kind of think about life for a second before they're ready to go. It's like your teenager in the morning.
Yeah.
And so he's all of a sudden realizes, oh crap, I better plan on starting the machine here. So he got out of the gate about 5th, I think.
5th or 6th, yeah.
Something like that. And the way this track was laid out, there was some open field running at the beginning, and then you got into the woods, and the woods was tight and off camber, and it was just follow the leader for quite a while. So he got really plugged up there, but when he finally got back out into the fields and could make some passes, he just checked out. He's just gone.
Yeah. Him and John Barnes were running way ahead of everybody until John probably, I don't know what happened to him, but he went out on probably the third lap, I would guess.
Yeah.
I was kind of dodging around different points where like I could be in a more central area where the tracks kind of looped in close to each other and then went away.
Yeah.
So that I could get different video shots of different areas. And so I was kind of trying to keep mentally, okay, what lap are they probably on? Because it was just so far apart. But yeah, I think John Barnes went out. Those two probably had a 2-minute lead on the next car back. And then when Barnes went out, Devin just kept pushing. He was out of there.
Just gone from there.
Yeah.
So Devin, man, super impressive race. Again, it's a fast car, but you have to be a good driver to handle a fast car. Otherwise, you're just fast into the trees, not through the trees.
Yeah. And Devin's been a great supporter of the podcast and everything else we do also.
So it was an absolute joy to have all three of you on the podium, and I was able to, climb out of the car and do the podium interviews because, of course, I'm the announcer there at MWXC. So it was just really cool to see three great guys that have been, good friends of ours and great supporters of the show, and to have them up there was just a really cool way to finish the season.
Yeah. Good way to finish it.
There is some carnage out there. Matt Hecker was
running.
He was 1 point behind Steve for the overall, and he was ahead of us.
Yes.
Because Steve, as much as I love you, brother, you got to work on the neutral bomb starts. So
Steve is so fast that he let like the whole class go and gave him like a 15-second head start.
He wasn't even worried about this race. He's like, I'll let them get ahead so they don't feel bad when I whoop up on them.
No, he started it in neutral and just as soon as he starts, foot to the floor and just pop, 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 right off the rev limiter. And
then, of course, he drops it back into high and it's because the transmission really doesn't like that.
No.
And then we finally took off. So, yeah, that was his second race in a row. And normally as a co-driver, I would try and catch things like that. But I did the driver's meeting and I led the prayer and I started the national anthem. And then I'm walking back to the buggy and jumping in and strapping in and trying to get my helmet on and find the intercom cable. And I'm just trying to make sure I'm actually ready to go.
And
so
we were holding
him,
catch it. But a series worker who will remain anonymous decided to grab the microphone, even grab it from the girl who was going to do the 10-second call.
The fill-in announcer, yeah.
This unnamed person decided to grab the microphone and start screaming like a banshee, "Shut him down!" And she's yelling because Steve left his engine going and he was still revving it. He was doing this on purpose because that way they can't send them.
Exactly. And he's holding up a finger like, give me a second, give me a second.
Well, and another track official, this woman's husband, is standing beside Steve, knows that he's doing this and why, because Doug's trying to get belted in, and he's got his hand up just telling us to wait, and he'll put his hand down. I'm watching him. I know the guy.
Yeah.
He'll put his hand down when they're ready, and then we'll send them off. It wasn't a big deal. No one was worried about it.
Ideally, that's how it would have worked.
But she's up there screaming.
So that changed the dynamic of that whole thing a little bit, but
yep.
Long story short, I did get belted in, got the window net up. Steve's beautiful wife, Darrell, was there and helped me get the window net in and found the intercom cable because all of a sudden I'm strapped in.
And you're like, I can't find
full
it.
5-point harness, like tightened down. And I'm like, I can't turn. I can't see it. And it's an all new buggy. So
yeah, you didn't know where anything was.
This is the first time I've ever been in that thing.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, man, that dynamic suspension.
That stuff's real, isn't it?
That's the real deal. I mean, yours rides good. His ride's amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's good. Polaris has it figured out there.
It's definitely more comfortable to be in than the X3.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've never been in both of them at the same.
Yeah, I never had a chance to do any kind of back-to-back comparison like that, and now I have. It's definitely a lot easier on the kidneys.
But they are 100% different, aren't they?
Oh, they are.
Between the X3 and the Polaris Razor.
I never felt once like we were going to have an issue with tipping over when I was in the X3. Like bicycling it, I mean, you could get into corners hard. In the Razor
oh, yeah, it's a real thing.
It's a whole different story because we went in. So the track from the start, you went out and went around about a 90-degree-ish curve and then took off towards the hole shot. And then the hole shot was really pretty mild, like a 45. And then you went down a small straightaway. And then there was the first real hard 90-degree curve.
With some real speed. Yeah.
And we were up on 2 like instantly.
Oh, yeah. It's just something you have to get used to. And as a driver, you just have to be able to drive it on 2 wheels for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, but that's what it is.
And his is actually lowered from stock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the stock ride height. So it's just a different type of machine. You got to understand that going in there. And that's where the pluses and minuses are. It rides a ton better, but you can't just throw that thing hard into a corner. You're going to be in trouble.
But
and there were a couple other spots on the track too where I intended for Steve to kind of hug the corner a little tighter, and I'm like, no, you need to turn in harder, and he's like, I can't.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it just doesn't corner as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I own one. I'm being honest about it. But tell me this: did you bottom out once?
No, not once. We never once hit where I was like, ow.
Yeah, in
Not
an
once.
X3, every race, every lap, you'll find that one spot, especially as the track gets beat in, that you'd be like, oh, I know this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, nope, never had that problem once. And so they're just different. They're different machines.
Yeah, they just are.
I mean, if you're going to be out there railing corners in the cornfield at high speeds, the X3 is going to eat your lunch every time. But in the woods, I mean, especially, if you get into some real severe off camber, again, you're going to have to take it a little bit easier than you would in an X3. But in the woods where, the horsepower and the cornering differential kind of goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome machine. But I think if Razor wants to stay competitive in XC racing, that kind of stuff, they're going to have to change some suspension geometry.
Well,
Or they're going to have to do like a Razor XC edition that, doesn't cartwheel. I don't know.
I think that's why they went to the Turbo S, though.
Yeah,
but it's not good for XC racing
But it's
at all.
72 inches wide, dude.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I know, but that's why they did it. They didn't really change anything else. They beefed up the suspension components, but they just made it really wide. Now it's not as tippy.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what one drives like.
Yeah.
Because if you still get kind of the comfort where you're not slamming the bottom all the time, but it corners better, then all of a sudden that becomes an interesting option for possibly something like short course racing. Especially if you lower it out where you get it
spread
lowered
out as
down
much
some
as you
and spread
can.
out as much as you can. I think that could be a really awesome machine, but you're not going to want to take that thing in the tight woods.
It wouldn't fit.
No.
And I'll just pull over here at the edge of the woods because my race is done.
Yeah, that's not a lot of fun.
No. So they are just completely different machines, and unless you've ridden in both...
They behave really differently, and that's why we tell everybody, ride in both.
Right.
If you've got a race series locally and you know some guys that run, offer to be their co-driver, and you'll learn enough about the driving dynamics to have a better informed opinion, even though you didn't get to drive them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just built differently. They're 100%
And the
built
inside of
different.
his buggy is like the freaking Starship Enterprise.
Oh, dude, buttons everywhere. He's got a separate panel of just buttons.
So Tyler Brittingham was standing there when I went over when the adult bike race was going on. I had a few minutes, so I ran over to Steve's machine because I want to get harnesses adjusted because I wasn't going to have any time to get settled in. I had to know, and I had to know what all the pretty buttons did. And so he's going over everything with me because he's not only got the separate panel of buttons, he's got like the full ride command system and all that other stuff in there, so that it's all touch screen, and it's like, well, this button does the music, and this button does the nav, and this one's all these other gauges and displays, and here's where you need to look for this one, and if the music needs restarted, you have to do this and this, and turn off the intercom, and yeah, like I had to take some serious mental notes before we just went off in racing, and Tyler's standing there, and he's just like laughing hysterically, shaking his head. Because his machine has like the round speedo with the clock underneath it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Like tells him what gear position he's in and how fast he's going
And what time it is.
and he's got a key, and that's it.
That's it.
That's all he's got. And Steve's got like, well, if you program it this way, and he literally does have a switch panel that you can program.
Yep.
It is. I mean, it's nice.
I like the fact that the nitrous arm switch is actually the CVT blower.
Yeah, well, he had put that in before he had the CVT blower even in there.
I know, but I like the fact that that's what it was. It made me happy.
So, yeah. I think all three, Barry, Steve, and Devin, no one sustained any damage between the three of them.
No, they all pretty much came out smelling like a rose. In fact, we didn't really have any close calls.
Besides driving on two wheels.
We pseudo clipped a tree, but it was really just kind of like the wheel was turned slightly glancing blow. I mean, nothing major.
Matt Hecker found a tree.
The nose of his looks it's like a pug. He's kind of pushed back and up now.
Yeah, he got a little bit of a tree meeting there. So rough one there.
But that pushed him back far enough in contention. We got around him, which is what locked up the first place overall for
Correct.
Steve.
So, yeah, I mean,
and Mike Plank rode with him.
Did he rode with Hecker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't need to run, so he didn't. He's like, I'm jumping in the buggy.
Yeah. I still need to get with Matt. He invited me out to drive his X3. Maybe I'll let him fix the front end first, but
maybe.
I mean, as long as it still drives straight, I don't care.
Actually, Matt, you may want to just let him ride now, because odds are with Chad in there, something else is going to go horribly wrong. So you might as well just
get it
fix it all
at once.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe if it's bad enough, you could just total it then.
Yeah. No, I haven't driven an X3 yet, and he invited me out. You know, we didn't ever set a date. He just said, "Well, you need to come out. I'll let you drive mine sometime." And
absolutely,
it's something that I've wanted to do. I like those machines from day one. Before I even saw one racing, before I sat in one or anything else, they're a rocket ship. They're set up to be a race car.
Yeah, no, they're just an awesome, awesome machine. And again, we point out that there are differences between them, and it really comes down to what you want to do with it. But if you're looking for an XC racer, I just don't think there's anything else on the market, really.
Yeah, Polaris is doing good to keep up with them right now, but I think Polaris is trying to keep up with them at best.
Yeah, I think if they really want to be super competitive with that style of machine, you have to go back with a blank sheet of paper on the suspension. The way the Razor is built right now, there's nothing you can really change that's going to turn you into an X3. It's just the geometries are too different. The whole stance is too different. It would be a completely different buggy for them.
Yeah, because the X3s, you sit down and in it, and the Razors, you sit on a pedestal almost, like a car.
Like a throne.
Yes, like a throne.
But, again, Steve put together an impressive season, finished first overall, so neither one's a bad machine. You just got to understand what they are and what one suits your driving style and go from there.
So, yeah. Little other news from MWXC. They had to lifeline 2 people out this weekend.
And it was the same corner. One was on a bike on Saturday, one was on a quad today on Sunday, and it was the same exact corner coming into the last straightaway before the finish line. Basically, there was a little kind of corn mound that was the marker of the corner, and people were trying to cut it close to, carry speed through into that straightaway. And several other more skilled riders said they had the same problem. They put a wheel up on it and bobbled, and they, were able to recover from it. But it's hard on these high-speed races because this track was very long and it was very fast. The adult track for both bikes and quads was 7.6 miles long.
Yeah, that's long.
And a lot of
typically there's 6 miles or so, roughly, give or take.
About that. So you're almost 2 miles longer. And a lot of that comes from the fact that there's a lot of field section there. And so when you're running open in a cornfield, it's generally pretty smooth, especially an established field that's been farmed for years and years because it's been, tilled and disked, and the farmers want it smooth.
Right.
But you get overconfident because of that. You think, man, I was running, wide open in that straightaway, came into a corner, hit that next, little straight wide open, and you get overconfident, and one little ripple, one little, you put that tire up there, you upset that suspension, and especially on a quad, you get turned sideways and it bites sideways, you're gone.
Yeah, your best bet's to jump away as far as you can.
And so...
Well, and when you're running, we'll say you're running 60 mile an hour out in the field, and you go to take a corner, that 30 mile an hour you're taking that corner at, or that 20 feels really slow. So you're thinking, I need to go faster. This feels slow. And then you overcook the corner, and now you're in trouble.
The rest is history. So it's, the good news about it is both of them are going to be okay. I'm not going to say they're okay now. They've got some deep tissue bruising. They're going to be sore for a long time. But both of them were airlifted out because they were complaining of neck and back pain. One of them, the one on the quad, was Lauren Patterson.
Yep.
And she's had some previous neck injuries, so you always want to be extra careful when somebody's had a prior injury. I think hers was actually from a car accident.
Yeah. Well, and she was knocked out for a good few minutes.
Yeah, because by the time our medic got there, it was still 45 seconds to a minute before she came around when he was there, and he was, a couple minutes from, driving and racing over there to get to her.
Yeah.
So she was out for a while, and her helmet was completely spun around 180 degrees, so the face opening was on the back of her head, and the chin strap was still done up. It didn't break the strap.
Yeah.
So it was...
She hit hard.
Yeah, we actually, where this accident occurred, we can't see that part of the track. It's down, basically, they come up over kind of a berm and then head back down into the straightaway, and we can't see the corner. We saw her, because she was high enough in the air when she flew off her quad, we saw her kind of ragdoll and then go back out of view.
It's like, oh, that's not good.
That's not good at all. And then the bike rider on Saturday bit it in the same spot, caught the same kind of, cut that corner too close. And there was another rider right behind him, and he didn't have time to avoid him and basically ran him over. I mean, completely unintentional, but it's XC racing and things happen.
Yep.
And so he was complaining about some back and shoulder pain himself. And the good news is they're both going to be fine. Everything looks like it's okay, but abundance of caution. You don't want to assume something is okay with somebody
when it's not,
and then they have a lifelong injury because you didn't take action on it. So we're extremely grateful that they're doing all right.
Yep.
Sir Steve is sending us video bits.
Yeah.
Well, now that we have that, I can probably stitch some of that in here as well.
Yep. We'll throw some of Steve's video stuff in.
It's about that time. Do you actually have trivia? Did you have time to get trivia?
I made time.
I appreciate you making time.
I manufactured time just for you, Doug.
Aw, I feel so special. I did trivia on the airplane coming back, so that was the other part of this whole mess is my flight.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a business trip down to Florida. I had a conference down there, and flights got pushed back. And long story short, I got home 1 o'clock Saturday morning, threw my stuff in the house, stripped down, got ready for bed.
Fell into bed.
Still kind of brain racing. Took me a little while to fall asleep, and then slept for a few hours, and then got up and head to MWXC. So.
Yeah, Doug actually sent me a message Saturday morning and said, "Bring your gear. You're riding with Steve." I'm not.
I was so done at that point. I didn't care. And then as the day went on, I kind of got my second wind, and everything was fine. But
yeah, then so I just said, "I have my gear. You haven't ridden with Steve. You're welcome to use my gear. Go ride."
I'm glad I did, because he calls me his lucky charm now.
You're like a leprechaun.
I am.
Don't be stealing my marshmallows.
Are you saying I'm short and ill-tempered?
Yes.
That sounds about right.
You have a drinking problem, too, that I don't know of?
Well, there's clear liquid in here, and I'll let you figure out what that is.
All right, let's get going with this trivia. Okay, question number 1. In the movie Saving Private Ryan, how many brothers did Ryan lose?
3.
That is correct. Very good.
And what I was going with the plane story was I played trivia on the way back.
Did you?
They had a trivia game on there.
How'd you do?
I did really good.
See, I'm preparing you for things.
No, see, their trivia was normal stuff. They didn't have any like pig intestine trivia or something like that.
Well, their trivia is weak.
It was pretty weak, but I had fun. I did learn a few things. I'm like, if Chad ever asked me that, now I'll know.
Now I'll know. All right. Question number 2. In what year were sea monkeys first marketed?
See, this was not on the thing.
I don't know why I love sea monkeys. I don't have sea monkeys, but just the thought of monkeys that live in the sea is amazing to me. And I know that's not what they are. They're just little shrimp. I think they're just brine shrimp.
So basically, it doesn't take much to amuse you.
No, just a cartoon picture drawing of the sea monkeys is amazing to me. And I love the thought of them swimming around down there and
that's fair
eating
enough.
bananas and throwing poo at each other.
Yeah, on that note,
so
what year?
What year were sea monkeys first marketed?
1953.
You were close. 57.
Oh, dude, I was thinking 57 in my head. I'm like, it's not going to be the same year as the 57 Chevy came out, surely.
Yeah.
So I went earlier.
No.
I should have gone with my gut. Man,
You
that's
should.
crazy.
When you said 1950, I'm like, he's going to get it.
So, and then I train wrecked like always.
Yep. Okay, question number 3. What do MC and MAC stand for when used in surnames? So like McGill or something like that, you know? It's a last name.
Oh,
You know how, like, especially a lot of Scottish and stuff like that, they have the MC or MAC. They mean the same thing, just saying that but it does stand for something. What does it stand for?
I don't know, but if I had to guess, like from.
It means son of.
Okay, son of. I was thinking it was from like an area.
Oh, like a
they are from,
geological area.
Yeah, like they are from here, because a lot of times that's how they would get their name.
Yeah. No, that's a good guess, but...
So it's son of.
Yes,
okay.
it means son of.
That makes sense.
See, I got some decent trivia for you this time.
I like that.
So, anyway. Okay.
Because like the German equivalent von,
Yes.
that means from. Like,
Yes.
This is where they're from.
Yes. But, no, they don't do that. They do son of.
There you go.
So, question
Son of
number
dog.
4. When tripe is on a menu, what is it?
Tripe.
TRIPEs.
I don't know why I'm thinking boiled cabbage, but
Is that your guess? Boiled cabbage?
it's not that.
Then come up with something else if you know that's wrong.
I don't know. Intestines.
Close. Stomach.
Stomach. Okay. I was in the vicinity.
You were. Nope, it's a stomach food.
So when they used tripe as a derogatory, like what a bunch of tripe, I'm like what a bunch of stomach.
I don't know. I don't know how they got to that.
Weird.
Yeah,
Evidently, it's not a food that's held in like really high regard.
probably not. Okay. Who did Abraham Lincoln replace as president?
Oh man, I just looked at this the other day. Dang it. Was it Garfield?
Is that your answer?
Yeah, I don't think that's right. I think Garfield was later.
Garfield was later. It's James Buchanan.
Buchanan, yep. I was like, dang it. I was actually just looking at the presidential line the other day for some reason.
Studying it in case.
Well, obviously not very well, but I was actually, something got me onto Garfield, and so I kind of went forward and back a little ways. Yeah, Buchanan.
Okay, question number 6. What brand of beverage has its containers visible in many shots of the movie The Fight Club?
Dark Eyes vodka. No, wait.
We've had another trivia question
We have.
similar to this. It didn't ask about brands.
Oh, it was something that was in like every shot or something
Yes.
like that.
This wasn't in every, but it was in a lot.
But it was actually like a product label that wasn't just
Yes.
like Folgers coffee, but in a nondescript cup.
Yeah, it's like a legitimate brand.
I don't know, Mountain Dew.
Starbucks.
Really?
Yep.
That's kind of lame.
Well, no, they did it because the whole Fight Club movie is kind of like an anti-establishment, you know?
Oh, so they're thumbing their nose at.
Yes, so they're putting the most like yuppie, uppity thing possible. Starbucks.
I've seen Fight Club once, and it was easily 18 years ago.
Long time.
So yeah, it's been a minute. That's crazy that movie's that old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Old.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Okay, question number 7. What taste, Steve, this one's for you, since Steve's taken to posting cat things on my Facebook timeline every day. What taste are cats unable to detect?
Whether they like ask cats or something?
Yes, they had a questionnaire. The cats had to check a box.
I can't taste that. Well, I know it's not sweet. I'm guessing I don't know, like bitter.
No, they actually can't taste sweet.
Really?
Yeah.
Seems like they have an affinity for stuff like that, but maybe there's other components to it that we're not aware of that they like. I don't know.
That they can taste. I don't
They
know.
eat a bunch of other garbage that I would never consider eating, so I was hoping it was They can't taste sweet, huh?
They can't taste sweet.
Well, my dogs can, I'll tell you that. No issue there. They grabbed a chocolate bar the other day, which is bad for dogs.
Doug's trying to kill his dogs.
You know what? I found out it takes a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a trivia for you.
Okay.
How much chocolate does it take to poison a dog?
Oh, I think it's something. I'm wanting
Now,
to say
it's a ratio. So
yeah, like to their weight,
yes.
right? I'm wanting to say it's like a 1 to 8. So like every 8 pounds a dog weighs is 1 pound of chocolate or something ridiculous. Or
you're close. It's an ounce to a pound.
okay.
So if your dog weighs 30 pounds, it takes 30 ounces of chocolate to poison them, and an average chocolate bar is like 3 ounces.
Yeah.
So my dogs weigh about 28, 29 pounds, and they got half of a chocolate bar. So they got like 1 to 2 ounces. So they were fine. I mean, her stomach probably was not happy with her.
And they were probably like climbing the walls.
A little bit. But yeah, there you go.
Why is the dog hanging from the chandelier?
Never mind, it's fine.
All I could think of was Spider Pig with Homer Simpson. Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out. He is a Spider Pig. That's official now. We've done that.
Okay, music for season 2 sorted.
Done. Okay. Question number 8. Who wrote the Star Spangled Banner? I figured you'd know this one straight away. I really did. I don't want to say I throw like gimmies in there for you, but I like to give you ones that like, oh, he should know that.
John Philip Sousa?
No, that was, what did he write?
Stars and Stripes Forever.
Stars and Stripes Forever. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the first name that came to mind. I'm like, that's not the right one. Now I have to say it to get it out of my brain.
Okay. I'll give you another chance.
I legit am blanking.
As soon as I say it, you'll know it. You'll be like, oh.
I'm gonna hate myself right now and go.
I'll let you dread a little bit longer.
I hate you.
Francis Scott Key.
Him. Yes.
Did you know that one? Or?
I did.
Okay.
I went Stars and Stripes Forever, John Philip Sousa, and I couldn't get that out of my head.
Yep.
Dang it.
Okay.
I really think I have early onset Alzheimer's. Like, it's getting bad.
You're fine. No brain damage.
Not enough to keep me from doing this show.
Question 9. Neptune, the Roman god of water, was known by what Greek name in mythology?
So Neptune was the Roman version.
Yes. The Greek version of him was what?
Frick. I know this one too. Well, obviously not.
I like doing these when you're tired.
Yeah, dude, I'm so baked right now. My word. Poseidon.
Yes.
Sorry, brain all of a sudden kicked into gear.
Clutch was slipping.
That was my neutral bomb start.
I waited. I was giving you time.
I'm like, Hades. No, he's the death god. My brain's like, no, Hades. I'm like, no, he's the death guy. Stop it.
Stop saying that, brain. All right. Question number 10. In which U.S. state is it illegal to eat an orange in a bathtub?
I'm going to go Florida.
Nope. California.
It had to be an orange producing state. And
why
California? Why am I not surprised, California? Good heavens. So by the time we do the next podcast,
it's my brother.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. You probably can't hear that through the mics, but all I hear is one ring.
He's downshifting a sport bike.
Yes, as one does at 8:15 on a Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, but by the next podcast, you will have gone through GNCC.
I will.
I will be coming back. We'll have been through and come back from down south there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Correct.
I don't know when we're going to record that mess because I don't get back till like late Sunday night.
Yep.
We'll figure that out. We may have to.
And you go on a business trip after? Is that right?
I actually get back and I actually have that entire week at home and then another MWXC race and then I'm home for 2 days and then I have to go to Dallas for a week. So I'm actually home for one contiguous 5-day period.
Wow. Whatever will we do?
I don't
You're
know.
home and We'll have to figure out a time to use up some of that time to record the podcast.
We'll figure that one out. We might do we could record it Monday night and try and throw one together. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Oh, they won't be throwing it together. We'll have a ton to talk about.
Yeah, I know, but I want to cut in videos, so we may have to push that one to a Wednesday for once. It just depends.
We'll figure it out.
But we're going to do something. We're not going to leave you hanging, even though we're not going to be around for the weekend.
Yep.
Well, we do want to thank our sponsors of this show. Of course, Watch Communications that hosts our podcast and our website. They do have a code right now, Waste of Time, all lowercase, no spaces, that will get you 1 month of free hosting for your website. So if you've been dragging your feet about getting a web page together, they can host that for you. And if you live in rural parts of Indiana or Ohio and don't have internet access, they might be able to help you out with that as well, depending on where you're located. You can find them on the web at watchcom.net. And if you can't remember that, just head on over to our webpage at eminentperformance.com and look for the sponsors section. You'll find it there as well. Also want to throw out a shout to our other sponsors, TGM Off-Road, UTV-Doors.com, UTV Engineering, Spangs Fab, CW Motorsports, and Harrison Power Sports up there in Harrison, Michigan, which is one of the few places you can buy the famed CF Moto machine. No?
No, they dropped CF Moto.
Aw. One less place you can buy the CF Moto machine.
Yep. But you can buy Textron/Arctic Cat.
Yeah, if you're in the mood for a double X, that's one place you can get it, and we can't recommend them enough.
Yep. Very fun.
You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com. You can find us on Facebook /Eminent Racing, on Instagram at Eminent Racing. You can find the video version of this show on our YouTube channel, along with other videos and sundries that we produce. Just go to YouTube and search for Eminent Performance. You can find the audio version of this show on
Not Facebook.
Not Facebook, because they don't do that. Well, you sort of can, because we throw out links.
On Google Play,
Stitcher,
iTunes.
Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. And that's enough places to find us. You don't need any more than that.
Yeah.
And if you get confused about any of that,
we do Instagram stuff. We didn't talk about Instagram.
I did.
Did you?
I said Facebook /Eminent Racing, on Instagram at Eminent Racing.
Well, sorry, missed that bit.
And if you don't forget it or don't remember all this crap, just go to eminentperformance.com. It's all there as well.
Yep.
And this is normally where we close the show, but I didn't know if you had a quick stupid stuff with Chad or...
It's actually from this weekend.
Oh, well, we got to do that real quick then.
Okay, I'll make it real quick. So we talked about the high winds and everything that happened this weekend.
Yes, we did.
Some genius people, two separate genius peoples, decided to start fires, because it was reasonably chilly.
And did I mention all the blowing corn chaff?
Well, one group of them, the worst ones, worst offenders, went racing with their fire going.
They lit a fire and left?
They did.
That's special.
So the fire went from normal campfire pit size of, a couple feet across to 100 feet wide and 400 feet long. And it got within, at one point, it blew past it, got within 10 feet of 3 5-gallon cans of race fuel that instead of having their correct screw-on caps, had rags jammed in the top.
Oh, so they're already pre-set up for being Molotov cocktails.
Yes, they were.
Neat.
So we hear a nice scream over the radio, "There's a fire in the field." And we're like, "The what, huh?"
Oh, my word.
So all the track sweeps are out there, and we're all on side-by-sides and quads and stuff like that. To put it out, how do you put out a big fire like this? We do donuts. We're just doing donuts.
That's awesome.
And burnouts and tearing the ground up to make, fresh dirt so that there's no corn stalks for it to burn. We got to put out. Didn't have to call the fire department.
And that wasn't the only incident of fire. There was another one that wasn't as catastrophic, but...
No, and it was much smaller.
But this just goes back to... I like how my interview process, I switched jobs recently. And after I settle in, the first couple days, I go in and have kind of a one-on-one meeting with my new boss, and she just wants to know how I'm settling in. And so we go over kind of a few ground rules and just, the kind of stuff you need to know to get settled into a new environment. And she said, really, here's what it boils down to. Just don't do anything stupid I have to make a rule about, and we'll be fine. Because she goes, if you do something dumb, then I have to make a rule that says you can't do that dumb thing, and I have to enforce it.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was great advice. Just don't do stupid stuff. And that's how it works with racing too.
You want to hear an even stupider thing?
Don't be stupid, and we don't have to make rules about you being stupid.
The guy who had the less big fire, after they put it out, he asked Jeremy, the track boss, he says, do you have a shovel I can borrow? And Jeremy says, yeah, I got a shovel. Hold on just a second, because he carries one on his quad. And he says, what do you need it for? And because Jeremy's thinking he's going to, bury the ashes to keep it from happening again.
Yeah.
The guy says, no, I'm going to dig down a foot or so I can have the fire in a pit so that the wind won't, blow it across the field, because the winds were still at 60 miles an hour. Jeremy said, you're not doing that. That little hole in the ground isn't going to stop from blowing ashes out at 60 mile an hour.
Has this man ever actually seen a fire?
I don't know. He was going to start up another fire.
Good Lord. Well, I'm glad we all survived the weekend and didn't die, now that I know that. Yeah, I think that's a good note to close the show on.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing this whole sad scene in my head.
Oh, it was interesting, let me tell you.
Well, no matter whose property you almost burned to the ground, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Deep